Is that enough? Did we get enough? Hello friends, my name is Morgan M. Steele. I'm an author. Today we are talking about writing. Once again, specifically, we are talking about writing and music. Not songwriting. I'm not a songwriter. I don't know how to write songs. But we are talking about the relationship that music has with your writing process and how it can benefit you all the way through the writing process. I'm filming in a new spot today. My dog is not feeling very well. She's got upset tummy, so she's over there. I'm over here. This is the room I write most of my books in. So sometimes in this very spot, sometimes in that spot right there, sometimes in that spot right there, but most of my writing happens in this room. Because before I had my PC, I just had this laptop here, my trusty dusty laptop. So yeah, behind the scenes, this is where I get my creative juices flowing. When you're writing a book, it's like filming a movie kind of, wherein you have a pre-production phase. So when you're making a movie, you have a pre-production phase where you're finding the cast, you're making the costumes, you're building the set, you're building the props. You have this whole phase of production where you are preparing for the filming itself. You're not actually making the movie yet, but you're making all the things that you need to make the movie. When you're writing a book, there is a similar phase here, and I think music plays a very big part in this. When you're writing a book or preparing to write the book, I like to do an outline. I usually do an outline where it'll be bullet points of the events that need to happen in order to see the book to completion, like the characters going through the motions. Like, I list it all out just so I have an idea when I'm writing of the things to come. This obviously can change, but also when you are making these characters and fleshing them out as people, I think music is a really important and useful way to do this. So think of like a real person, right? I'm a person, I think. I have several playlists on my phone of different things, of different music. Every person as an individual has music that they like and dislike. And if you take into account how this affects your own characters, like songs that they would or would not listen to for one reason or another, I think that really helps you figure out who they are as people before you are putting them on the page, and I think that helps a lot. So sometimes I have a playlist for each individual character. Mia Crane, for example, from Lost and Found, she has a dedicated playlist, which is things that she would listen to or things that I think describe her. I've been building that playlist literally since high school. It is now 9 hours long, and it's just like, not all at once, but every time I'm like on TikTok and I like hear a song and I'm like, this is Mia, I just plop it on that playlist, and that's how it's been for years. Just discovering songs, relating them to her, putting them on the playlist. And so sometimes I'll have that for individual characters, sometimes I'll just have like a playlist for kind of all the characters as a whole, but there's a reason that every song is on that playlist, and that reason is often one of the characters or something that that character is going through. I think, using music, making these playlists can help you like get to know these people and help you flesh them out in a way, as people and not just paper and ink on the page. I think it's important to really try to get in their head, and music is a really great way to do that. So ask yourself, what kind of music does this character listen to? With Mia, it's like 80s rock. She likes Fall Out Boy, she likes Green Day, all of these things. You can think about the time period as well. If you have a character who is like in the 1970s, probably shouldn't be listening to modern day music. You can put those songs on their playlist if you think, they would enjoy it, like suspend your disbelief. But, think about the type of music that they as a person would listen to in their day-to-day life. Really look into like the culture like surrounding the music and the culture surrounding their time period, and use these as building blocks to build these people to be more realistic. And it's not just genre. Like, I feel like genre so aggressive. It's not just genre, right? Like, everyone has a couple genres they gravitate towards. I'm mostly a pop girl. I don't think that's surprising to anyone. I like popular music. It's, basic, whatever. But it's not just about the genre. People have songs that they listen to sometimes for other people. Maybe it is a song that your significant other likes. Maybe these are songs that your parents grew up listening to that you are now listening to. And so people have like emotional ties to music because music is like made of emotion, right? If you think about these songs and like the way that they tie to your characters, I feel like that can tell you a lot about the people that surround them as well. So, for example, think about Peter Quill from Guardians of the Galaxy. He very notably has a mixtape that was given to him by his mother. She grew up in like the 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s. So a lot of the music is older. A lot of the music is 70s music because it's music that she listened to. But now she's passed it on to him. These are songs that he listens to. And then the mixtape itself, which all the music is on, this is used as a tool to show us just how much his mother meant to him. So the music itself is becoming like a memento of her, like a token that like represents her and represents his relationship to her. And it's like his emotional grounding in the first film. In general, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy movies use music really, really well to build up characters and important moments, and you can do the same even though you're not like actually using the songs in your books. That's a whole separate thing. You cannot put song lyrics in your books for like legal reasons. You can't put song lyrics in your books. You have to buy like specific rights to song lyrics, and I know you're like, oh, but I've seen books with song lyrics in them. Those are traditionally published, okay? They have publishing houses that go and get all the legal stuff figured out for them. If you're self-published like me, that's a big no-no for us unless you go around, do the hard work, contact the label or whoever is representing, you know, the artist whose song you want to use lyrics of in your book. Unless it's like a common phrase, because like common phrases you can't like copyright, but like you cannot put like Taylor Swift lyrics in your book, okay? That's like a whole separate thing. So you can't like use the songs themselves in your book, but you can, as you're writing, you can kind of like build these little Guardians of the Galaxy-esque moments between yourself and the laptop. You know, you're writing and you're listening to the music and you're like, this song is this scene. I think that's kind of fun too, to like build a soundtrack that would be in the book if the book was a movie. But anyway, you can use music to show your character's emotional ties to other people. This is true for Peter Quill. This is true for me. One of my songs that reminds me a lot of my dad is The Rainbow Connection. It's something that he and I bonded on because he really loved the Muppets, and so I have lyrics of that on my skin. That one is my emotional tie song. If someone was writing me as a character, like that would be the song at the big, swelling, emotional, pivotal moment of my life, of my movie life. He also really liked, you know, the Rat Pack, really big on Frank Sinatra. He liked Billy Joel a whole lot. Like, all of these things are things that would be on my Guardians of the Galaxy mixtape if I had one of my own. And so I think you should go out of your way to make one for your character, for your main character. Just songs that really like ground them emotionally, songs that make them feel human, and songs that have big important meanings for them. And now that you have this playlist at your disposal, all of the songs that you've been putting together for the soundtrack of your book or for each character as an individual, you can use this as a brainstorming tool. You can put it on and start daydreaming about your plot when you get stuck with it. You can put it on in the car, put it on while you're in the shower, and this can serve as your baseline for like really getting into the zone, thinking about your book, just kind of start associating those things with one another so that you can get better at like brainstorming on the go when you're doing other stuff. When you're thinking about those songs, you're thinking about your characters and your plot, and it all helps with the outline and the pre-writing process. And the cars outside are so freaking loud today. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so before you even start writing, music can be helpful in the pre-planning phase. Now we are on to the writing process itself. So people are different, you know. Some people can get work done and write specifically with normal music, like, you know, music with words and stuff. I'm not one of those people. I think you're all superheroes and I respect you so much, but I can't do that personally. If I'm writing, I can't be listening to words because it messes me up. I get stuck in the song and I'm not working on the writing. So instead, when I'm doing the actual writing itself, I have to make a separate playlist that is all instrumental music. And I put this on when I'm writing. It helps me get in the zone, helps set my emotional tone, helps keep the tone kind of consistent throughout, and just gives me like a really good like vibe, like a good collection of vibes that I'm going for when I'm writing a book. I use a lot of movie scores, so this is like the instrumental music in the background of a movie, not the pop songs that play during the fight scenes. This is like the backtrack, just the soft, like emotional score throughout. There are songs for every human emotion found in movies, like tense, romantic, angry, sad, fight scenes, car chases, nice little like romantic moments on the beach. Like every emotion you could put to the screen or the page, you're going to find in movie scores. This is also good, like, if you're writing a fight scene, for example, you can pull intense music from superhero movies and use that to just like fuel your writing process, keep you on edge. It helps make the scene feel more real to you, to me at least. For each, I do a different playlist for each book. I don't have just like one big writing playlist. I have a playlist for each book that I write. And so these, the stray cats are outside. They are being very cute. So for example, for Lost and Found, it's a lot of superhero scores. It's Captain America the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, The Batman, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Homecoming to get like those plucky teenage vibes. There's, Kingsman, The Golden Circle, because it is a spy book, so it's got like espionage vibes. Very fun. So like Lost and Found, really all of it kind of fits into one box. It's all like the superhero genre. It keeps the whole thing more or less consistent, and within that scope, you have like all the moments, like even superhero movies, if you've ever seen one, there's always like a deep emotional like moment. So you have those in there too. You can do whatever you want. You can write to just one movie score, you can write to like a million. That's the Lost and Found playlist. The other one that I've been listening to a lot lately, this is On a Sweet Summer's Day. This is my murder mystery that I've been working on for the last year or so. This one is a lot more varied than the other one. So we've got the Casper soundtrack, which, side note, is literally just like such a beautiful score for a silly kids movie. Like, it is so pretty, so gorgeous. Play sample here.
You don't remember anything from your life?
No.
So, nothing?
So beautiful. So that's on there. The Scream soundtrack is on there, the first movie, because it's a murder mystery, so it has like some more tense moments in there, tense like scary like horror movie music in there. We've got the Titanic soundtrack because it is like kind of a historical fiction in the sense that the characters are reliving events that happened in 1903 and they're like dressed 1903, so I went 1900s Titanic. We've got Somewhere in Time, which also takes place in like 1910, I believe, and that one was filmed on Mackinac Island. It's from the 80s, and the book itself is inspired by Mackinac Island, so that one has like a couple layers to it, but it is really like just a beautiful movie score. I really like it. I've been listening to it like a lot lately. It's also got some Hocus Pocus and some practical magic in there to give it that like whimsical New England feeling, because it takes place in Maine. And then Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle are in there as well. Those are both really beautiful, like, movie scores. Light, whimsical, deep, emotional. I love those movie scores so much. Those are like the feelings I wanted it to have. I wanted it to feel like a watercolor Studio Ghibli movie with like the beautiful colors and sweeping, sounds. Like, those are kind of the vibes I was going for as well. This book is all over the place, is what I'm saying. Like, it is Scream and Cinderella. Yeah, those are the movie scores that I listen to a whole lot, especially recently, because those are the projects I've been focusing on. But I encourage you, like, the next time you watch a movie, like, really listen to the background music, see if this is something that, like, interests you, something that reminds you of one of your writing projects, and then hop on, like, Apple Music or Spotify or whatever and see if the score is on there. Because a lot of times it is, and you wouldn't think it is. Like, I've looked up movie scores that I totally did not expect to be on streaming, and then they are. And so you never know what you're going to find on there, and it's nice to, like, build up that library so you can go back to it when you're starting a new writing project and you're trying to set the scene real nice. So finally, we're going to get into some honorable mentions of soundtracks that I listen to a lot that I really like, but were not mentioned in the other section. So starting off, Nimona. This movie came out on Netflix last year. It was up for an Oscar. I don't remember if it won it or not. I don't think it did. Such a good movie. The soundtrack is so fun because it's like fantasy and sci-fi, so it's got elements of both. There's this one piece near the end of the film that is just so like haunting and gorgeous. I'll play a bit of it here. Just like, it's so stunning. Like, I heard it and it just like, just shook me to my core. The Labyrinth soundtrack, this is so fun. It feels like watching a movie on a big square TV on a VHS in like the best way ever. It's just like crusty in all the right ways. Like it has that like tone that vintage songs have because they were recorded on film instead of digital. And it's just, oh, it's so good. I love that sound. I love all the instruments in there. There's lots of like slap bass and synth, and so that one is like super fun and whimsical and magical. Like all of the 80s fantasy movies in general. Princess Bride is another really good one. For you Narnia, Lord of the Rings girlies, check out the Princess Bride soundtrack. That one is good too. It's less like overly 80s, if you know what I mean, where like Labyrinth has like the slap bass and the synth. Princess Bride doesn't have as much of that. It's more like whimsical flutes and wind chimes and violin and stuff, but that one is really beautiful too. It's like so good. I also just really love that movie. You should definitely watch it. Another one that no one ever talks about, Warm Bodies. This is one of my favorite movies. I was obsessed with it when I was in middle school. This soundtrack is like, it's plucky and like awkward because R is like an awkward character. He's a zombie. He's like trying to find his place in this world. And so it's got elements of that. It's got like coming of age vibes, but it also has like the apocalyptic stuff, like the scarier stuff. And it's also a romance. So it has like the romance stuff in there. I was really surprised to find that one on streaming. I did not think this score would be on there, but it was. So you should go listen to that. You should also go watch that movie. It's one of my favorites. Also shout out Lisa Frankenstein. Love Lisa Frankenstein. Please go watch that as well. The score is also on music streaming, so go listen to it. And then my final shout out is going to be the WandaVision soundtrack. I know like Disney is not exactly out of the mainstream, but WandaVision kind of is at this point. It's kind of the perfect soundtrack. It's got every single decade in it, like from the 50s onwards. So there's like a little bit of something for everything. It's got your classic MCU beats, like the action-y, superhero-y stuff. I can't tell if my light is dying. I think my light might be finally dying. Anyway, it's got like the classic MCU stuff that you would expect from like The Winter Soldier, but it also has like one of the most beautiful instrumental songs from the whole MCU, which is What Am I? It is from the end of the show, spoiler alert, for a show that's like 3 years old, where Vision has to say goodbye and he's like, what am I? And Wanda has her monologue about, you, Vision, are the piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me, like that whole thing. Such a beautiful song, like kind of rushing towards the end of that series. Yeah, very good. And I cry every time I hear it, so you should definitely give that a listen as well. Finally, now that you have this soundtrack for your book that you've been building to listen to while you're writing, you can layer this with ambient noises. I don't know if you've thought about this. I have an app called Rain Rain. This is not sponsored. I just really genuinely like this app. With Rain Rain, you can listen to 3 sounds at a time. You can adjust the volume of each, and then you can also like adjust your phone volume so you find like that perfect balance of music and sounds. I like to play around with the sounds. They have a bunch of premium options. I don't pay for premium. I just use the free stuff, but they have beach noises, they have storm noises, they have seagulls and some other creatures. They have like cars and traffic noises. They have dishwasher noises. I really like the dishwasher. That one's good. Or not dishwasher, the dryer. The washer and dryer. Those ones sound really, really good in the background. Just like kind of nicely buzzing. They have white noise, brown noise, pink noise, and green noise, I think. So you can have those in there as well. I usually just stick with like rain, beach sounds, fire sounds, like etc. And then I'll layer those with my music. So like the murder mystery that I'm doing, it's on an island, so I use the beach waves. And then I'll use the storm sounds too, and then sometimes I'll layer a third one in there. When I was writing O Positive, I used to use the dryer noises and the city rain, I think, and that was a good blend for that one. And then in the background I'd have my writing music. So you can blend these things together and really just make like an immersive experience for yourself. Rain Rain has a timer on it. People use it for sleep. I use it for other things because I'm a weirdo, but you can set a timer on it, and then after like an hour or whatever, it just gently like phases out the sound, so it's not like just stopping all at once. So that's kind of nice. But you can set like a little writing timer for yourself and have your little rain noises and get your writing done. And yeah, it's really nice. It's really great. Really just like fills out the experience for me and helps me really get in the zone. There it goes. It finally died. My light died. But yeah, it really like fills out the experience for you and helps get you in the zone so you can get the most out of your writing session. Finally, now that you have all the pieces in place, you can partake in my favorite part of the writing process, which is laying on the floor and thinking about the book when the writing isn't going well. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me I wasn't in. As creatives, even those of us that are limited to words, like myself, there are a lot of ways that we can enhance our experience and make the writing process a little bit easier and a little bit better and a little bit more fulfilling. These are some of my favorite ways to do so, but let me know yours. How do you use music in your writing process? Is there something I talked about here that you do? Is there something else you do that I didn't touch upon? Let me know in the comments down below. That is going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day. And as always, take your meds, drink your water, and I'll see you next week.